Edition of Smarknado. I'm your host, Eric Druckman. With me, as always, the dirty Danaconda, Dan Cesnit. Dan, how you doing today?
Whose house?
Swerve's house.
I'm doing great, man. I'm exhausted as all get out. I won't lie to you on that front, but really good weekend of wrestling, and I am fairly hyped to talk about it. So
Hell yeah. I think that we had a very historic pay-per-view that we saw, and it was great in many different ways.
mhm.
Um, and we're gonna preview the WWE draft by just giving our own a handful of predictions that we have
Yes,
for each brand. Now, before we get into everything, though, I thought that it would be appropriate for us to talk about one guy that has made headlines over the past 24 hours, who unfortunately was released, and we're both really big fans of him.
yeah,
And that's Cameron Grimes, who is now going to be going by Trevor Lee.
yeah.
Um,
The formerly known as Trevor Lee. I didn't know we were going to talk about this topic, and truth be told, it slipped my mind. But yeah, go ahead.
yeah, man, I wanted to, lay this in on you because I know that we really like this guy. And I personally feel that Cameron Grimes, Trevor Lee really can do everything when
Hmm.
it comes to wrestling. He checks all the boxes to me. He's somebody that can put on great matches, is super entertaining. I don't know what it was that they just couldn't figure out how to use him and his character on the main roster. I really don't know the circumstances, but if I had to make a bet of anyone who used to be with WWE and might end up getting hired back down the line by, really just going on a phenomenal run. Um, I'll bet on Trevor Lee because I think that he is going to go on a monster run coming
I
up.
think he's going to go on a monster run too. And I know that he has, an affinity for, WWE. He made that pretty clear in his
Mhm.
his his video, saying goodbye and whatnot. So, um, I don't know, man. I don't wish going back there on anybody. You know what I mean? Like, I am.
Well, why? Well, I think that it's fine as long look at what happened with Drew McIntyre, what happened with Cody Rhodes.
Sure,
You know,
sure.
I
But
think that
but
they
those are
are.
two shining examples, and there's a lot of others that have done less.
I know, but it is. I think you still need to remember that it is a new era, and we can't really use prior comebacks as examples. Um, so
I s-
I just think that yeah, maybe he doesn't come back. Regardless, I think that his star is going to shine,
Yeah.
and somebody is going to take advantage of are going to use his talents to the best degree possible. And I think we're going to see something really special from him.
Yeah, I mean the indies are popping right now. There's a million matches that I'd love to see him have and have again. So yeah, there's no shortage of opportunity for him. That's for certain. So
Yeah.
it'll be fun to watch. And when I say I don't wish going back to any on anybody, it wasn't in a sense that I hate WWE. It was more so in a sense that I've left jobs and gone back and regretted it. You know what I mean? That was more the vibe I was trying to put out there, not the you don't want to go back to WWE. Like I get it, it's different there now, or so
And
they say.
I see
But
it more through the lens of like I said, Drew building himself back up to be a main event level talent and Cody
mhm.
doing the same thing. Trevor could do the very same thing and build himself up to be a can't miss main event level talent to where they're just going to be like, okay, let's bring this guy back. Let's see what he can do.
I still think that there's a lot of Vince in Hunter or Paul, as it were, in the body guy department.
All
You know
right.
what I mean?
I don't see what do you think he needs to do? Does he need to put on more muscle
I
or
just don't think he's a big presence. I think Drew is a big giant presence,
and he
and
got
he's
bigger before he came back too.
yeah. and Cody is Cody, right? Cody is a Rhodes. He's not, I'm not saying that Cody has anything that Trevor Lee doesn't, but a name.
Yeah.
That's all.
I don't know. I see a lot of good things in the future
I'd rather
with
see
Trevor Lee.
him help build up a brand like TNA, or rebuild a brand like TNA, than go back to WWE. That's all. That's my personal preference for his career, which means absolutely fuck all. You know what I mean?
I think that it's especially interesting with this release coinciding with the fact that I want to say, I think it was the Supreme Court passed that no compete clauses are no longer a thing anymore.
I've only read headlines. I would be ignorant if I would say anything further than that, but
Hmm.
apparently no non-compete clauses have been eliminated,
Yeah,
deemed whatever illegal.
probably
Um,
unconstitutional.
so, but that being the case, what I foresee them doing is just sending people home under the "we're going to fire you in 3 months, but just go sit home and collect a paycheck."
All right. Well,
I
let's
think
see
it's
how it
going to be
plays
something
out.
similar to that.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if Triple H's petty is quite the same as Vince's. But
I don't think that that's the case. I just think he's gonna there's it's business. They still want to keep that person off of TV for another company. I think that is, I don't even think that that's a Triple H call. I think that that would be a legal call, or somebody above Triple H even.
Nick
Truth
Khan.
be told, yeah,
Yeah. All right, so let's get into AEW Dynasty because I thought it was just a really great show.
sure,
Did you watch any of Zero Hour?
yeah. I watched all of Zero Hour actually.
Okay, I
I
didn't
watched the
watch
whole thing.
all of it, but I did see
Hmm.
Trent Beretta versus Matt Sydal,
Hmm.
and I was
That's the
just
only
curious to
of
see
all the
what
matches. That's the one you saw.
on Zero Hour. Yeah,
Oh, you didn't watch the trios match?
nah, I didn't really care because like
Oh,
I
okay,
the most interesting thing to me was I just wanted to see how Trent worked in a heel capacity.
okay, okay. That's
So
fine.
that was what I was most curious. I tuned in when the trios match was about to start, but I rewinded and I went and I watched Trent versus Matt Sydal.
No,
Um,
that's fair. I just figured you would have watched the. I mean, I'm glad that they finally clarified that it was a unification of the titles,
yeah.
and we ended up getting that, which is
Do you
good.
find that strange since they just did a redesign of the Ring of Honor World Six-Man titles?
Um,
Because
a
I noticed
little.
that. I noticed they were new.
I don't remember what they look like, so to me, it's kind of irrelevant.
Yeah.
But all in all, I did think it was a good match.
Kind of
I thought it was.
irrelevant, like that whole division. And I wish that was different, but it just kind of is. And I think that's kind of what made me not really care about it. And I'm kind of over these factions all working with each other. And I know they built to, the breakup and everything. I just kind of wanted it to be over with as soon as possible. Um, and I mean,
And
did you think it was a good match?
I did, I did.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. It had what I was looking for in a match like that. It had good spots and shit heel stuff, and I mean, I think it was something that could have been built up a little bit better. But again, like you said, the trios titles division has not been something that has been booked well.
No,
So
no. And it's, I wish, I don't know. We wish all the time that certain things were the right way in AEW, and it never really turns out that way. And when it does turn out that way, it's only for a little while, and then it doesn't sustain. So, what can we say?
I mean, I'm gonna keep watching because there is more about the shows that I enjoy than that I don't enjoy. I'll just put it that
Yeah.
way.
All right. So Dynasty kicked off. JR went to the broadcast booth. Oh my God, this got me so nervous because I just thought he was going to be there the whole night, but it
He was
wasn't to
great.
be.
He was really good actually for JR. I
Yeah,
thought he was better than he had been in a long time.
because they brought him out for 2 matches, and I feel like
But
that was
but
the
let me yeah, I wasn't quite finished yet. I hate the constant changing of the booth.
yeah.
It throws the whole if I had one complaint about this show, that's it. It throws the whole flow of the show off when you're changing the commentators for every match, it seems like.
Hmm. So this opening match, AEW Continental Championship, Okada versus Pac. Boy, did this set the tone for the rest of the night. Um, I thought that this was at least a 4-star match. This got a hot dog from me,
Hmm.
maybe a probably a hot dog. Um,
I'm gonna tell you this is a hot dog match for me, and that's only because of what else followed it, pretty much, right? Like it's hard to give the same rating to this and some of the other matches on this show. You know what I
I,
mean?
I I agree with that, but this was such a good match
It was
overall.
great.
They
It was
worked
great.
awesome with each other.
On a lot of
But
cards, this would have been the match of the night.
yeah,
On a lot of cards.
I agree with that. I agree with that. But it was awesome. I thought that Okada and Pac, I had a feeling that they were going to have a really amazing match with each other, and they pulled it off.
I
And
love that they do the Continental Classic rules with nobody at
nobody
the.
interfering. Yep, and that's
It's
perfect
such a
for
nice touch.
Okada
Hmm.
because Okada, even though he is a heel, shouldn't be like a Weasley heel who gets interference to win his matches.
No,
Um,
not at all.
he's also I also thought it was amazing when he was about to do the Rainmaker pose and he flipped off the camera. That was just such a really good touch.
Great,
I
great, totally gifable.
Yeah, and once again, Okada wins with just one Rainmaker. They are protecting that finisher,
That's
and
all he needs.
it's good shit.
That's all he needs.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. All right, next we had trios match. Copeland, Eddie Kingston, and Mark Briscoe versus the House of Black. This was fun, man.
Car
I, I
crash.
thought I thought it was a nice like palate cleanser from the earlier match. I liked the order of this happening next. All these guys, this was a get your shit in type match, and I thought it
Oh
was
yeah.
fine. Um, I loved the ending with Malachi spraying Copeland and getting the black mass kick. Again, another protected finisher that I love.
Always.
One
Yeah.
kick and it's over.
Hmm.
Uh, yeah, I'm just excited to see more of Copeland interacting with the House of Black. And I said it on last week's show. I would like to see like a gauntlet thing where like he goes through Buddy Matthews one week, he goes through Brody King, and then he gets Malachi Black. And I think that he has reason because you were saying to me last week, you were like, why would he want to get to Malachi Black? He has a beef with him now
Now he
with all
does.
that mist that
Hmm.
got on his face. So
Yeah, because prior to that, he had more beef with Brody King.
yeah.
So
Yep.
makes sense now. And he kind of did climb that ladder, right? Like you go through Brody to get to Malachi, sort of.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
It was dope, man. And then right after
very good.
that, representing the House of Black, we had Julia Hart against Willow Nightingale. And this was a much shorter match than I thought it would be.
Really
I,
short.
I will say that. But it was we got the result that we really wanted
Hmm.
at the end of the day.
Hmm.
Willow looked great. I thought it was so nice how her family was ringside and she
Yep.
celebrated with them. She is just the ultimate baby face.
If
So
she can make Stokely Hathaway likable, she is the ultimate baby face.
hell yeah, man. And then Mercedes came out, and I'm interested to see how this all plays out. I want to know. I still think Chris Stat turns heel.
This
Do you?
seemed like yes, yes, but this seemed like the whole time I was like, she's. It's almost like she was playing us into thinking that was the turn because she was like sort of like repositioning herself like towards Willow, and I thought it was coming.
Yes, I know what you're
Did you notice
talking
that
about.
too?
Right after Willow won.
Yeah,
Yes.
like it kept like she kept like repositioning herself, and especially when Mercedes was coming, and I was like, okay, this makes sense because a Chris Stat Mercedes heater type situation. I love that, right?
Hmm.
But yeah, it felt like it was coming there. So if it's not then, it's coming at some point.
Yeah, I agree, man. But awesome moment overall, more than the match. And you know what? Maybe Willow needed that dominating performance just to
Yeah.
build her up to facing Mercedes.
I
It was
like
already such a
Julia
big
Hart a
deal.
lot. I don't think she was quite ready to be a champion. I think her aura got her that more than her, actual in-ring ability.
I mean, I would say that I would compare her the same way to Jade Cargill in that respect. In that they both had an aura, and then
Okay,
they both had this championship, and they weren't like, truly established names,
I
but I
respect
think
that.
that they both pulled it off.
Yeah, no, I get that. That makes sense now that you say it that way.
Yeah. All right, next for the AEW International Championship, Roderick Strong defended against Kyle O'Reilly. Now, I just want to say first, I, based on the history of these guys, had no doubt in my mind that they would tear the fucking house down, and they absolutely did. And
Wow, okay.
I feel like they really stuck it to people that were kind of shitting on this feud. And yeah, it was kind of something that was built kind of lazily in a way. And like,
Yeah,
Roderick
very.
Strong turned on him on Collision, and then all of a sudden they're beefing, and they didn't really tell the story, and that is valid. But when these two get in the ring with each other, it's just a battle, and there were so many amazing strike combinations in this match. I feel like this was a match that made me remember why I became such a huge Kyle O'Reilly fan in the first place,
Okay.
is because he is just somebody who makes wrestling look as real as possible with
Yes.
his strikes, with what he does, the intensity, and Roderick Strong brought that too. And bro, I'm gonna say this: this was a hot dog and a handshake for me,
I actually
100%. I thought that this I liked this a bit more than Okada versus Pac
I did too, but I feel like they left something in the tank.
because of
So
the way it ended.
something it ended suddenly. I didn't like the fucking Wardlow appearance. Like
Mhm.
that tainted it to me. So to me, without that Wardlow appearance and maybe not so sudden of a finish, I would have given it a hot dog and a handshake. But to me, it's just a hot dog match.
Yeah, I can see it that way. I'm gonna give it a hot dog and a handshake because I just didn't
Fair.
think that the Wardlow interference was like so detrimental to the match.
Yeah.
Like he didn't even like he just kind of appeared there at
Mhm.
ringside.
Well, I
He
also
didn't.
think that they left something in the tank too with the match. I feel like they've had better in the past and could have better in the future.
Yeah, I guess so. Maybe just have a match where there's no interference and they just keep
Yeah,
going. Maybe, put these guys in a 2 out of 3 falls match. I think would be really
put them
good.
put them in the Continental Classic against each other.
Yeah, for
You know,
sure. But yeah, I give this a hot dog and a handshake. I honestly, I like the story of Roddy retaining because
yeah.
Kyle is just coming back. He's just trying to, get his legs out from under him, and he gave it his all, but he needs to just give a little bit more in order to become a champion. And I hope that they continue this story, and I hope it ends with Kyle eventually winning the title.
So I was with you and I was listening to you and I heard you and I agree with everything you said, but I did this wicked sigh because I just realized what the next match after this is. And
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. So I think that there is a method to the madness here, regardless. But we had Hook defending the FTW championship against Chris Jericho. I mean, if there's anything that came out of this that's obvious to me, I think that they are. I think the people in the back are Tony is well aware of the heat that Jericho is getting, and whether it's go away heat or not, he wants to expose it and wants to use it as a vehicle to get Hook more over. Um, and
It's not working that way.
how do you know though?
It's not working that way for me
For you, yeah.
personally. That's all. I subjective, but for
Mhm.
me, it's not working.
Listen, I'm not really liking Jericho's stuff as much as the next guy. Um, but I think that when Hook gets his revenge on Jericho, it's really going to get him over huge because people truly despise Jericho right now. That's what's I think that's what the purpose of this really is at the end of the day is that
I,
like they want to get Hook really over and they're going to get Hook really over after this.
you don't think he would have gotten really over after winning this match? I really need this feud to go on.
Sure, but I think that the fact that Jericho just leaned in so hard to just being a piece of shit as everyone has perceived him into being, and Hook eventually getting the win, um, after a couple weeks of Jericho just being a shithead.
Okay.
I think it might mean a little bit more. And I hate to say that just because like I've been very anti Jericho a lot, but I think that this is going to be good for Hook's career overall.
I mean, you just made my list, so
Okay.
fucking
All right. Well, I mean, I don't like Jericho either, man, but I do like Hook, and I see this as more as a vehicle to get him super fucking over. And if that's the end result, I'm for it.
okay. I hope so. I hope you're right, and I hope I'm very wrong. But I have to stomach Jericho either way.
I don't like seeing him on TV either, man. But it's just kind of it's a card that we can't that's been dealt, and like we can't really do anything about it because I think he yields so much power backstage, and it
Yeah.
sucks. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. All right, next Women's World Championship, Timeless Tony Storm versus Thunder Rosa. I thought that this was one of the better Tony Storm, like timeless Tony Storm matches that we've seen.
Really, you thought it was
Because
better than Deanna?
I did, because I feel like she brought more old work rate Tony Storm out in this match than she has in previous matches and was just very physical and brought it to Thunder Rosa. And I thought that there were times where I really did think that Thunder Rosa was going to do it. But yeah, how did this end? Did she? Oh, she hit the low blow on Thunder
Yeah,
Rosa and won. And
low
I like
blow,
that.
sword zero.
I like that because I think that's just so true to Tony Storm's character. And,
Hmm.
you know, I think maybe some people are reacting like, oh, well, that's a woman. You hit a low blow on her. Guys,
It hurts.
it still
It
fucking
hurts.
hurts. It still
It
fucking
hurts.
hurts. You can
Yeah.
win
If
that
I
way. Yeah.
if I went up to my wife and low blowed her, I would be getting divorced. That's all I'll say.
Yeah. Yeah. So I thought that this was totally fine. I am interested in seeing who Tony's next challenger is going to be.
Yeah, me too. They
Mm-hmm.
don't run this back, you don't think?
Maybe they do, just because she won by nefarious means, and
Yeah.
Deanna's part of the situation as well. And there's some tension between Deanna and Thunder Rosa too. So
So a triple threat is probably brewing.
yeah, we'll see that. All right. So without further ado, let's talk about Brian Danielson versus Will Ospreay. Son of a fucking bitch, man. I'm just gonna say it right off the bat. Hot dog, handshake, um,
I
all the
mean,
bells and whistles. More than
I
a hot
can't
dog and a handshake. I think that
I
this is a bona fide match of the year candidate.
I can't say anything more. This is the match of the year.
Yeah.
Like This is the best match that's ever taken place on American soil.
You think so? Period.
Yes.
Wow. That's a strong, strong take. And you know what? I'm not going to argue with you because I haven't really researched it, but it is definitely something like my gut would say, yeah, this was the best match that I've seen.
I mean, I recency bias is an obvious thing, especially when it comes to wrestling. But to me, there's not a match I can recall with the hype that lived up to and exceeded the hype.
Hmm.
Right. So to me, the only thing that's ever going to beat this is if they have another match.
Yeah. Now, I want to mention in this match some elements that I really enjoyed. I really enjoyed at the beginning of the match the exceptional chain wrestling that was
Uh-huh.
going on, and it really harkened back to old school Ring of Honor, American Dragon, Bryan Danielson. Um, just breaking down the body, uh, going for the cattle mutilation.
Mhm.
I thought that, I thought that, the back and forth that they ended up having once the match really heated up was tremendous. They just went beat for beat with each other. This is the
Mhm.
first time that I ever saw a an avalanche tiger suplex, and that fucking, like, I was just
It,
like, how did they even fucking pull that? And they pulled it off perfectly too.
yeah, I
Just because,
don't
like,
know how they
I
pulled
couldn't
off.
even like imagine my mind somebody doing that, but somehow they did it, and they did it perfectly. I mean, that's just a
Yeah,
testament to just how good these guys are, how like, legendary these two are.
it's nothing short of breathtaking. Um, and I say that because I would argue of the minority that really enjoyed the finish, even with the fake injury.
Yeah.
Um, you know what I mean? A lot of people frown on that, and typically I do too, but it's like you're not going to get me again, Danielson. So at that point, I'm like, all right, I'm just going to enjoy it for what it is. He's working us, right?
Well, he did get me. I was very worried, and that did kind of ruin part of the match for me.
No, I didn't.
At the
I didn't.
end.
I knew it was an entire work. Like he no way, no
He
how to
landed
me.
pretty safely.
He landed very safely. There was the he fell on his head off the turn.
Dan, we're losing you. Dan said he fell on his head off the turn. I think he was about to say turnbuckle, but Dan has to figure out his internet situation right now. So stand by, friends. And we're back.
We are back. Sorry about that. I don't know what the hell
You
happened. I
left
think
off by saying that Danielson did hit his head on the turnbuckle.
no, he had not hitting his head on the turnbuckle, but he landed on his head coming off of the turnbuckle earlier in the match.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so I don't know specifically if anything hurt him, that would have done it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think with Danielson, it's kid gloves, and if there's ever any actual spot where they think he hurt himself, then the X is going up. He is
Yeah.
not to be trifled with in that way.
Yeah, man. And I think that one of the biggest moments of the match too was right before the, you know, Daniel, Osprey doing his finishers, but they were going to collide in the middle of the ring.
Yeah.
Osprey was going to go for the hidden blade, and then Danielson caught him square in the face with a Busaiku knee, and that was just, for me, that was the moment of the match.
Really, you think
Like,
so? You thought that was better than the knee he hit when he was going for the Os cutter?
oh, maybe that was it.
I mean, he hit
Maybe I'm
two.
mixing them up. Yeah.
Well, there was two times similar that he hit the knee
Hmm.
with the crazy precision. But the
Yeah.
one that sticks out to me was the one that where he's going for the os cutter, and it was just like, that's the best professional wrestler in the world.
Yeah. For sure, man. This was awesome. 5 stars, 6 stars, whatever you want to.
All the stars, all the
All the
rings,
stars,
all
really.
the everything.
But
Give them their flowers
do you think that they're finally going to pull the trigger on Osprey leaving the Callis family this week?
soon enough.
Yeah.
Soon enough.
All right, next tag team championship ladder match: Young Bucks versus FTR. Ooh, this was really good. I mean, I'm not going to take anything away from how hard these guys worked. It's very hard to follow what we had seen previously and the other matches
Impossible.
that came too. So it's hard. It was just hard for me to like get as into this match, although I did enjoy it.
Nearly impossible. Nearly
Yeah,
impossible to follow it. Yet again, like with many of the matches on this card, would have been the match of the night had it not been for Danielson and Osprey.
yeah. I
Really,
mean,
really.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I liked Roddy. Roddy uh and Kyle are my silver medal for this night in terms of like star
Just different.
matches to me.
It's just different.
Yeah,
It's different.
yeah. But
It's a different match.
I thought that this was good. This was an expected result of Jack Perry coming out and you know costing FTR, and the Bucks end up winning. And
Do
yeah,
you
I
think
mean it's kind of what we expected would happen.
you think he's joining the elite after
Yeah.
throwing up the E when he left?
Yes. Do you?
I don't know. I don't know if they're going to keep him separate or what, because he's part of fucking House of Torture.
He's not coming. I heard he's not coming back to New Japan.
Oh, he's not.
It might have just been a little thing for a little while, you
Oh,
know.
I didn't read that. I didn't know where he stood with all that.
Yeah.
Then yes, he is obviously.
But I thought it was a really good match. I'll give it a hot dog. I'll give it a
It
hot
was definitely a hot dog. Definitely a hot dog match.
Then finally, AEW World Championship, the match we were all waiting for: Swerve against Samoa Joe. And Dan, you knew going into this that my gut was telling me that Samoa Joe was going to retain. And again, like I've never been so happy about being wrong about
Uh,
something.
I'm glad you were wrong too. It
Yeah.
was, it was. I wouldn't call it a hot dog and a handshake match, a hot dog and a handshake result,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Definitely wasn't the best match on the card by any stretch of the imagination, but boy, did it ever, just the little bits and pieces of this match that told a story in the ring.
Mhm.
It was arguably the best told story in the ring.
I agree. I would give it a hot dog.
Yeah.
And especially at the end too, like the way that Joe was looking at Swerve right before Swerve did that final Swerve stomp. That just told the story like right there. He was just like, "You're gonna have to fucking kill me," and he
Yep.
did.
Yeah.
And we got the moment at the end. Swerve is your new AEW champion. Let me just say this, man. Right from the moment that Swerve came out last year and called out Hangman Page for becoming complacent, I knew that that was the start of the main event run of Swerve Strickland.
Mm-hmm.
And man, am I just so happy that it has culminated in this moment, and it has just been a pleasure watching that progression
That
from
dude
that
grow.
point. Yeah.
That dude just grow from the indies through, you know, what was
And
not a great run in WWE. We can be
yeah,
honest,
man.
right?
I saw his last indie match.
Yeah,
We both saw his last indie match
elbow
at
to
Wrestling
elbow.
Revolver in 2019 WrestleMania weekend. Before he left to go to NXT in the WWE. And I just think that he had huge redemption here. Obviously, it was so short-sighted and stupid, just so stupid and ignorant and dumb of WWE just to be like, oh, this hit row act isn't working, so let's just get rid of all of them. Where it's just like, do you have
And
any fucking idea who's leading this group?
I also didn't even think that it wasn't working. Like it just wasn't
Yeah.
working for who was trying to make it work. That's something that can still work
Mm-hmm.
if you wanted it to. Like, but I digress.
It's thinking back on that, that should go down as one of the stupidest fucking decisions that they ever made. Of
Worse
all
than
the stupid decisions that they have made in
worse
the
than letting
Vince
go of Jinder
administration.
Mahal.
Bro, we already talked about gender.
We did, I know,
Yeah.
but I just wanted
Yeah.
to throw it out there.
Don't hinder the gender.
Do not.
But yeah, man, overall, I thought if I had to rate this whole pay-per-view, let me see. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10.
Yeah. 9 out of 10 is a fair score. I'm just gonna take another quarter of a point away just because I like to be contrarian because I did not like Jericho and Hook. So 8.75.
Yeah. I think that Jericho and Hook is the only reason why it's not 10 for me, to be
Oh,
honest with
okay.
you. Yeah, I thought this was a fantastic show, and fuck, bro, I am looking forward to Dynamite.
Me too.
So
In
let's talk about some
T
of the
minus
things.
1 hour and 6 minutes.
Yeah, so let's talk about some of the things that are going to happen on Dynamite.
Yeah.
First of all, we are going to be getting an IWGP Heavyweight Championship match. I'm very excited about this. Moxley defending against Powerhouse Hobbs. My only hope from this match is I want it to feel like a New Japan style match. I want there to be very hard, strong strikes. I would like, I mean, maybe this is, of course, this is asking too much on AEW limited commercial interruption
Good luck
during that match. Yeah, fucking good luck. I'm gonna try to find like a stream or something that has like the international stream.
I don't know what you're talking about. I only do things legally and I only pay for everything that I watch.
Yeah, but fuck, bro. I think that's gonna be a lot of fun. I think we have Swerve in an eliminator match against Kyle Fletcher. I think that's gonna be awesome. Those guys haven't faced each other before, I don't believe.
Not that I can think of.
Mm-hmm. We got Mercedes coming out. I'm sure she's gonna confront Willow. So hopefully there's more to come with that. We got Mina Shirakawa against Anna Jay. Mina Shirakawa trying to get her revenge on Anna Jay after Anna Jay and Mariah May fought each other, and then Anna Jay attacked both of them or whatever the fuck. And I don't know. They need to do better with women's matches on the main show, bro.
I mean, it's Mariah May and Anna Jay had a match. Anna Jay attacked afterwards. Mina came down and saved. Mina is wrestling Anna Jay. It's pretty
I know it makes sense, but I just think that there's some if you're gonna have one women's match, it should be a little bit more of an important women's match than that.
That doesn't mean that's the only women's match. There might still be another one, and there's a whole segment for Willow. So,
do you want to make a bet? I bet you $5 not another women's match.
Bet.
Okay. Perfect. And something that's close to mine and Dan's heart. Chuck Taylor has a decision that he's going to make tonight.
Ooh.
Who's his best friend between Orange Cassidy and Trent?
Who do you think it's going to be?
I think he's going to choose Trent, and he's going to feel very. I think he's going to feel very bad about it. I think he's going to feel very.
A Chuck E.T. heel turn.
I think it's going to be like a sad heel turn, like he doesn't want to do it.
He's just gonna be the sad boy every time. That's just standing there every time.
Like he hits OC with a chair, but he feels really bad about it, and he's just like, "Yeah, Chuck, I chose you," but he's not smiling. You know.
I'm interested. I'm interested, and I think that it's going to be a good episode only because it's in Jacksonville, and they tend to go all out for Jacksonville. So I'm excited.
I am too, man. I think it's going to be a really good show, but of course, this week is a very important week in our lives. First of all, friend of the show, John, who hasn't been on the show in a while. He's getting married this weekend, and
He is.
very happy that I'm going to be there for him. I've been friends with John since elementary school, so it's yeah,
Hey,
we're gonna
I'm
have a
making a
great time. The gang's all gonna be together.
I'm making the 12-hour drive up north just to be there for John and see my friends. I'm so very very excited to be able to
Yes,
come up and do that.
absolutely, and congratulations, John and Lauren. But of
Yes.
course, this week brings about a couple of drafts. First of all, the NFL draft, and I've certainly gotten my fill of podcasts listening up and down what that's going to be like. But we also have the WWE draft that's going to be coming up,
Mhm.
and you know they kind of the way that they do it now is just kind of like random people get sent to different shows. It's not really like a full on like everyone
Yeah.
gets drafted. But I have five predictions. Dan has five predictions. We're
I
not
went a
ranked.
different route. I went a different route than you did. I don't know if you predicted where people are going to be going.
Yeah, I
Um,
did.
but what I did was predict things that are going to happen because I didn't want to follow the rules. but
Okay.
I want to hear where you think people are going to go as well.
I
So
guess I have directions for everybody of like where they're gonna go with the result.
okay,
Um, so I'm gonna go from like probably the least earth shattering to the most earth shattering.
okay,
So first I have Pretty Deadly gets drafted to Raw.
okay.
And I think that this is a very good move, considering the fact that the Awesome Truth is the tag team champions. And I think Pretty Deadly would be the perfect opponents for Awesome Truth. And I think that their segments with each other will be very entertaining.
Yes. I mean,
Yeah.
anything with our truth is going to be entertaining, but Pretty Deadly is up there as far as the entertainment